So my wife is married. Let's go. It's a draw pick that I got. Still there?
Started here.
All right, welcome. My name's Chris Dunbar. I'm the commissioner. I've been a commissioner of the GLIAC for the past this is going into my 6th year. I am a proud GLIAC commissioner, having been a student athlete in the league, a coach, an administrator, and now I have the honor of being the commissioner. So very pleased to have our media day in person. I know we've gone through some things with COVID where we had virtual, none, but to have you all here, it's just great to see. We have a great turnout, but I just want to welcome you all. Here, the Sheraton Hotel has been a tremendous host for us. They've done a great job. Service was outstanding, so I just want to thank the hotel and their representatives on helping us put on what we want to be a real memorable experience for our coaches, but especially to our student athletes. And I don't run the GLIAC by myself, so I want to make sure that I introduce the staff. And they do a lot of behind the scenes things, which I think they're a little too behind the scenes, but we have a lot of new faces this year. Michael Pierce is with the headphones. You can see that we have a small staff, so we do a lot of different things. Michael Pierce started in January. He came from Saginaw Valley, from being their associate athletic director there, but he's a lot to do with championships and compliance for us. Another new face, he's taking pictures and doing video, but Josh Pickler. Sorry, Saginaw Valley, but I took another one from you. But Josh was in the sports information department, was a student, but in between sports information people, Josh kind of ran the department as a student, so we're really excited that Josh is on the staff. And last but not least, Assistant Commissioner John Regenfuss, and I really want to commend and recognize John. He put this together. I know he told me, coming from his background, he's been to many of these, but makes my life easier when we know we have someone with John's experience, and he's put together a great event for us. So thanks, John, for doing all your work that you've done. I also want to welcome our new head coaches. More than half of our coaches this year are new. It's something that we haven't experienced in the conference before, but we're excited for the season. We're excited with our new heads of our head football coaches who will be taking over at their respective universities. Just want to recognize our new coaches from Michigan Tech, Dan Matlock, from Northern Michigan, Shane Richardson, from Grand Valley State, Scott Wooster, and from Wayne State, Tyrone Wheatley. So welcome to the GLIAC, and we're excited to have you be a part of it. Oh, I can't believe I've been reading all this stuff without glasses. So, this past year, the GLIAC has experienced unprecedented success. We've had successful programs in the past, but this past year was one that we haven't experienced something like that in quite a while. The highlights from last season, the GLIAC had a team who was ranked #1 every week throughout the entire 2022 season, and that includes the preseason and postseason polls. And that I don't know of another league that can say that that's happened. I'm sure I'll be fact-checked for that, but that is incredible for our conference. We had 3 teams earn bids into the NCAA playoffs, which is one of those was including Davenport, which made their first ever appearance since transitioning from NAIA. So congratulations again to those 3 institutions. Ferris State captured its 2nd consecutive national title, and again, winning convincingly in that championship game. Grand Valley State went undefeated in GLIAC play to win the regular season title, and the Lakers defeated 6 nationally ranked teams in 2022. Saginaw Valley soundly defeated 2 top 10 nationally ranked non-conference foes, earning its first top 25 ranking since 2019. And Ferris State's Caleb Murphy set the all-division record for sacks in a season with 25.5. Another major highlight, Northern Michigan's Jake Witt was drafted in the 7th round by the Indianapolis Colts, while we also had numerous other GLIAC players sign free agent deals or earn camp invitations. So the 2022 season was one the GLIAC won't soon forget, and we're hoping to build on it for going into this next season. And this next season promises a lot of the same. GLIAC teams occupy the top 2 spots in the national preseason polls. The GLIAC is in the year 2. We're excited about that. We have joined forces with the Big Ten Consortium for our officials. It allies us with the best officials in the nation. Coaches, I know I talked to you a little bit about it. We are definitely going to be Friday at 4 o'clock for that call with our partners and our officials. With that said, replay will be instituted for the first time this season. So we are excited to have that be a part of our games, our home games. But we're finalizing the protocols there, and we'll be partnering with Sky Coach to make that happen. So I'd say we are one of the very few conferences that are making that jump, but we want to be one of the leaders in Division II. We are in year 2 of our Flow Sports partnership that saw us get numerous views, lots of marketing and branding for our institutions and for our conference, and we're excited to have Flow Sports here today. And it's been a partnership that the GLIAC has seen much success, and we're looking at continuing and growing that forward. So thank you for being such great partners and coming out here and flying out here to be a part of our day today. And last but not least, we are excited that we will be welcoming Roosevelt University into our league in 2024. And they're on track to enter Division II. They passed the first stage of acceptance into the process. So we will have 8 football playing institutions with the addition of Roosevelt University, which is terrific for us. So this is going to be another great, exciting year of GLIAC football. I'd like to thank the coaches, the student athletes, and the media for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here today and be a part of GLIAC Football Media Day. At this time, I'd like to hand the mic over to our host for the event, Adam Jaska, and we can move forward with our preseason poll. So thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks so much to Commissioner Chris Dunbar. As she mentioned, my name is Adam Jackson. Happy to be hosting the 2023 GLIAC Football Media Day. And let's jump right into it. The preseason poll is out, and we'll go from 7th to 1. So coming in at number 7 is Northern Michigan. At number 6, Wayne State. Coming in at number 5, Michigan Tech. Saginaw Valley State has been tabbed as 4th this year in the preseason poll. Voted 3rd is Davenport, and the Panthers also received 1 first-place vote. Coming in at number 2, the defending GLIAC champion, Grand Valley State University. The Lakers received 1 first-place vote as well. And of course, tabbed to win is the 2-time defending champs, Ferris State. They received 5 first-place votes. So there is your preseason poll. As for the program here, we're going to bring up each head coach, and they've also brought 2 players with them. So we're going to get that started here soon. The first team to go will be Michigan Tech coming up here at about 1:15. Thank you very much. Darius Willis. Coach Medlock, let's start with you. As the commission mentioned, 4 new head coaches. You're one of them. Tell us about being in this league and representing your alma mater.
Yeah, I've been back in the league since 2017, so that part is not new, obviously, in a new role. So been quite a bit different since the transitions happened, but we were fortunate enough to keep 4 of our coaches on staff in full-time roles that were with us a year ago or more. Obviously know all the guys that are in the locker room, so that part of it was very easy. Looking good, looking forward to getting back together with these guys and getting the season rolling now.
Tell us about what it's like that first year, trying to build your program. Obviously, there's a lot that you have to do. You have spring ball, and then here comes the season. What are kind of the goals, or what have been the things that you're trying to do to get your program started in the right direction?
Yeah, I think anytime there's a change in leadership, obviously there's going to be differences. Even though I've been in the locker room since 2017, trying to have a new voice at the top and get everybody on the same page was a challenge at first, and thankfully we have a locker room that polices itself and very mature in that way, so made that stuff easier. Everybody kind of knew what direction we were trying to go into, and right from the first team meeting we had in December before we broke for Christmas through now, everybody's been going in the same direction. So that part's been good, and I give these guys a lot of credit. Obviously, being leaders in our locker room and taking over that part of it downstairs and in our weight room and our off-season conditioning and everything. Everything's rolled right into our summer. We've had a great summer. Around 65, 70 guys up here for the last month or so. So pretty fortunate for that part as well. So we've got a great group on campus, and can't say enough for the work that these guys have done.
Yeah, before we get to these two, tell us a little bit about the 2 that you brought and why you decided to bring them here and your expectations for them this fall.
Sure. I think the production on the field speaks for itself, both sides of football. Sam obviously was on the shelf last year with the season-ending injury, and everything he's done up to that point in his career to get back ready for this last go-around for him. Incredible with what he does, his voice, the way he goes about his business. No question our leader on that side of the football, and really in the entire locker room. It doesn't matter what position they are, but Darius takes care of everything he needs to. Not going to say a whole lot, but he is very much a guy that is going to do things the right way. Our receiver group is pretty veteran right now, and he leads that up, and huge part of what we're doing offensively as well.
We'll see if we can get a few words out of him before we leave here. Sam, let's start with you, though. Coach just mentioned it. You weren't able to play last year, but you had a really good 2021 season. Tell us how excited, one, you are to get back on the field this season.
Yeah, my sabbatical lasted a little longer than I would like, but coming back, it's really put the fire back in. It's like just like coming from high school. You usually redshirt and get back into it, and I'm just really excited to just get back into this senior year. Play with all the guys that I came in with and some younger guys. Even get to play with my little brother for a season, so I'm super excited to get back on the field.
Is there something you can learn from, obviously I know you guys all want to play, but just kind of taking a step back and watching the program and then getting back out there the next season?
Definitely. One thing that I reflected on, I saw that it really helped me with some emotional control, because obviously watching your team go through highs and lows is very difficult, and the highs you want to be there, and the lows you want to be there even more, because you feel like, oh, if I could have been there with them and helped them throughout this scenario. So I think the emotional control throughout a whole football game and throughout a whole football season is very beneficial for the longevity of the team.
Darius Willis over here to the end. Tell us about this offense and what we can expect this year. Coach said it, you're a leader back in the wide receiver group and obviously going to be a big part of this offense this season.
Yeah, so this offense coming up, we are a pretty veteran group in the receiver room. We have Brandon coming back, myself, and Ethan. We've all got a year under our belt now, so looking forward to that coming back in the fall.
I heard that you caught passes last year, but you threw the ball as well, right? You can do it all, huh?
Yeah, that one pass versus Northern, yeah. It was, I was shocked it was called, but working out.
But you executed it, right?
Yeah, executed it.
We repped it enough that you should have been shocked.
Sam, let's go back to you. Tell us what it's like playing. I mean, talked to a lot of coaches and representatives from this conference this week, and everybody seemed to be in unison. This is arguably the most difficult conference for football in Division II. What is it like playing every week in this conference?
It's fun every week because every week is a competition. It doesn't matter who's across from you at any given time. You go to war every single snap of the ball, and playing defensive line and going against, humongous O-linemen. It's a battle every single play, and that's something that I always enjoyed. From snap to whistle, we're going after it every single time, and everyone understands that there's always that underlying threat of violence that as soon as that snap goes, we're coming for each other. And also, even after the whistle, you got me that time, you got me that time. So I enjoy every aspect of the game, from as soon as the national anthem is sung until we look at the scoreboard and see who won.
Darius, same question for you. Tell us what it's like competing in the GLIAC.
It's pretty good competition all around. Week in and week out, you have some of the best DBs in the country. So you get to learn from them, and you get to learn what you're good at, what you can do versus them, and just build game in, and just keep building on from that.
Coach Metlock, let's come back to you. I know you had been a part of this staff, but now as the head coach, what have you learned to get yourself prepared for this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to my first job. Started out at Northern Michigan, actually, for Coach Anderson, and worked for Keith Otterbein at Hillsdale College, and then most recently here with Coach Olson at our place. But you try to take bits and pieces from everywhere, make it your own when you get there. I think the biggest thing for myself, being at the place where I played and was an assistant for 6 years and now taking over as a head guy, is these guys all know me. Everybody in the building knows who I am. So being authentic with what we're doing, trying to get established moving forward, I think is important. They'll know if it's stealing it from somebody else or trying to be phony that way. So everything we've taken moving forward is I got to be who I am. The guys that we brought in, outside of the people that hung on, guys that I know from the past, know who I am, know what Michigan Tech is, know what Houghton, Michigan's all about. So it's just trying to do things my way, and that's all I can do. Going to make some mistakes along the way. Obviously, I have a bunch of people in my corner. Coach Curley, who was head coach at Tech for a long time, still in town. Bounce things off him all the time. So there's going to be things that I don't know, and I'm not a person that's too proud to go ask for that kind of help if I need it. So got great guys in my corner, and have been very fortunate to learn from some of the very best up to this point.
You had success as a player at Michigan Tech, and obviously being a part of winning this league. Do you take that experience and utilize it? Does that help you now as being the leader of this program?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a school like ours, with what these guys have to go through on a daily basis in the classroom, the location that we're in is unique for a lot of the guys that we recruit, just because of how far it is from home. So those types of things that I dealt with back in the day, whether it be myself or buddies that went through it, you can take it back to the locker room now and help them out with that part of it. But it's a unique place up there, and they've already said it. Everybody said it in here. We play in the best league in Division II football. So getting our guys to a point where we are in a position to be competitive every single weekend, on top of making sure they're taking care of their classroom work and socially taking care of their end as well. It's a challenge, but these guys know what they're getting into when we recruit them.
I want to ask you two guys. Let's start with Sam. Obviously, Coach Metlock, he's been on the staff, but now he's the head coach. What is something that you've learned from him in the past, or maybe this year, going through spring ball and getting ready for that first fall camp with him as head coach?
Yeah, I really felt the transition. Like you said, we had a meeting in December before we all went on break, and the air of the entire room changed. Like, I believe Coach and I have the same philosophy about football and how we attack any given football subject. And in that meeting itself, the transition was so smooth, and everyone knew just the look in the eye and the feeling from that point on through spring ball through summer workouts, and God willing going through fall camp will be the same, where it's laser focused throughout the entire structure of the program.
Darius?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing I've learned from Coach Metlock is just conducting yourself as a player on the field, being, like Sam said, laser focused, and just treating it like taking it serious, and just being like, this is what you have to do. You have to do it this way, and just building up to that.
All right, give me something. I know fall camp is a grind, right? You're trying to gear up, get back in shape, and get ready for that opener this year against Minnesota Duluth. But Darius, let's start with you. Something you really enjoy about fall camp that you can't wait for.
I guess the biggest thing is just being away from football for, I think it's probably the longest break from football during the year. So just getting back to the swing of things, and it's being 70 or 80 is back summertime. So I enjoy just being out on the football field.
Sam?
Besides football, I like the ice baths after practice. It's pretty nice.
You like the cold, huh?
Oh,
You don't have to answer if you don't want to, guys, but is there anything that you really don't like about fall camp? Is there one thing they're like, I could go without this?
It'd be cool if it was like 55 all the time.
The weather?
Yeah, that'd be cool. But besides that, no. It's pretty much fun the whole time.
Well, it's going to get started here quick. Last question for all three of you, and Coach Metlock, let's start with you. What is the expectation here in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we will handle our team goals behind closed doors here when we get started in a couple of days, but I think every single Saturday, what we're looking for from a staff standpoint, what these guys are going to know the expectation is fundamentally sound in everything that we do, being a disciplined team, and then anytime you play against the competition that we have week in and week out, the mentality of that, we're not going to back down to anybody showing up with that kind of mentality from these guys' standpoint, and whatever happens from there, we can be all right.
Sam Kinney, as we mentioned, back on the field this year, your expectations and what you're looking forward to.
Just keep my speed as high as I possibly can. Obviously, sitting through last season, not being able to play, it really made a longing for the aspect of every single part of the game. So whether it become running and conditioning, lifting, practice, or playing in the game, I just want to enjoy every single step of it and do it as fast as I possibly can.
How about for you, Darius?
And my biggest thing is building off of last year. So just improving every aspect of our team, chemistry-wise, on the field, and just continue to improve each game.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Best of luck this season. This is Coach Dan Metlock, Sam Kinney, and of course, Darius Willis. And they will get started this year, August 31, at Minnesota Duluth. Coming up next year, we're going to have Northern Michigan take the stage. Next up, we've got Northern Michigan, the Wildcats, under first-year head coach Shane Richardson. We've also got Kyle Starr, tight end, fullback, and then Jason Coulter on the defensive line. So, Coach, let's start. And by the way, it is Northern Michigan that will open against Minnesota Duluth coming up. That'll be August 31st. Coach, let's start with you. Taking over the program, how excited are you to get going?
Yeah, extremely excited. It's been great. Got there in January, and the way I describe it, it's been a smooth whirlwind, right? Had some experience as a head coach, but coming into something new, it's been a lot of fresh stuff that you have to really plan for, lay a foundation for, and it's been very busy. So we've been a lot of recruiting, a lot of just planning to get with our players and make sure we had a great spring, and obviously going into the summer and now planning for the fall. But it's been great because a lot of people up there have been very welcoming, and it's been comfortable, and a place of familiarity for me has made it very, very smooth.
How much does it mean to you to come back to your alma mater and be the guy now to lead the program?
Yeah, well, I think, being involved in Division II football for the last 17 years, from afar, you look at the program, and as a proud alumni, you try to take a look and dissect what's going on and what's taking place there. And of course, I think a lot of alumni share the same concern in terms of looking at some of the results and outcomes and where the program has gone here the past 20 years or so. And just to be a part of that and to be able to affect direct change and be at the head of being able to lead that, really exciting, and being able to put a new direction in, put some new expectations in, and be able to help, lead our program and the guys that are in the program down a different path.
Anything specific that you think is going to take to get you guys back up to that top level?
Well, I think really two things that we had in mind as we came in. Number one is to establish very clear, very high expectations, and to make sure that everybody understood what those were. And I think that's part of the identity, it's part of the culture, it's part of the mentality that we have to operate by. And I think the expectations that we need to really expect out of ourselves, that needs to be a very clear concept for all of our players and everybody that touches the program. And then I think the other thing was making sure that we have a culture of trust and understanding how important that is to bring in new coaches, to deal with our players, and to be able to build that trust and that chemistry, and to make sure that we're operating together and really being able to depend on each other.
Tell me about these two guys next to you that you brought with you.
Yep, Kyle Starr on the offensive side. In the springtime, obviously we hadn't worked with these guys before, and so everything in the spring they were able to kind of wipe the slate clean and show us, kind of what they could do and what they were all about. And he was a guy that really just came to the forefront in terms of toughness and grittiness and availability, and really put him in a lot of different positions offensively, some by default because of the lack of depth that maybe we had, but really it's because he could do a lot of things. And so he won the toughness award by the end of the spring, and so he's definitely a guy that we're excited about and getting ready to really showcase some of his skills and talents. And then Jason Coulter on the defensive side has really taken on a good role in terms of leadership and setting a great example, and has bought into really everything that we've done and thrown at him. And of course, when you come into a new program, players have to buy into what you're doing, and Jason has been at the forefront of being able to lead other teammates to be able to do that, and he's shown that himself. And so looking forward for a lot of production out of both of those guys, and I'm really excited that they're here today.
Kyle, I got to start with you. How many positions can you play?
I mean, as many as they asked me to play. I came out of high school, I played offense and defense, so I'm pretty comfortable on both sides of the ball. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but on offense I can spread it out. I can play running back, I can block, whatever they need me to do.
He told me tight end, fullback. So you're telling me there's maybe a couple more positions that might need to be added to the title?
There could be.
Jason, how about for you? Coach mentioned it. When you have someone new come in and take over, you really are hoping to have some buy-in from guys that have been there. Why do you kind of put your best foot forward here and step up and try and be that leader for this team?
Well, when you got a new coach coming in, you got two choices. You either jump ship or you buy in all the way. And I chose to buy in because I was like, I like this school. I love the people here. And I'm not going to fold on my boy that I came up with for the last 3 years. So
What's it like playing football up at Northern Michigan?
it's completely different. Completely different from anything I've ever experienced. You got the lake right after practice. You got all the fun, like, things you can do outside. But then you also got the dome, so it's like, when it's November 15th and you're playing late in the season, you don't got to worry about the snow.
There you go. Yeah, that's the best part. Kyle, for you, going back to something that Coach mentioned, he mentioned that toughness. When did you become that tough and physical type of football player?
I think I've been playing football like that mostly my entire life. I think it's a lot to do with the high school I came from. My parents raising me a real tough lifestyle, working on the farm. So I think basically since day one.
We gotta have some stories about the farm. What were you doing on the farm?
Not fun. Baling hay is not very enjoyable.
But you appreciate it now, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about, Coach, let's go back to you. Tell me about this rivalry up there between the two Northern Michigan schools and battling for the Miners Cup. Obviously, you did it as a player and now get to do it as a coach. What makes that rivalry special?
Yeah, well, I think obviously we're the two schools in the Upper Peninsula that have college football, and we're extremely competitive. I think the two schools are made up a little bit differently, and so it's been a really good rivalry. Obviously, in the last 20 years, if you look at the record, Northern Michigan has not been on the upper hand of that, and Michigan Tech has done a fantastic job of really having our number. When I was a student athlete there, we had great success against them, and so I understand what it takes and being involved in that. The expectations is that we're able to get it back to that. And so, they've done a great job, and obviously we want to be able to elevate ourselves to be able to get back to what we think we should be, and to be able to compete at a high level there with them.
Guys, I want to ask you, what's it like to play in that game and the pride and everything that's on the line? Kyle, let's start with you.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. That rivalry we have with those guys, you can feel it as soon as you step into either in the dome or go up to their stadium. It's just electric.
Yeah, it's a completely different environment compared to every other game we play. It's like the second you step on the field, you just get straight adrenaline rush. It's go time.
Can't wait to see that one again this year. Coach, let's come back to you. Offensively, defensively, break it down a little bit for us. What you're excited about with both units this season?
Yeah, I think obviously we had a chance in the springtime to put in our philosophy, our systems, and a lot of different things that they're not used to, and so we had to really coach them up on that. And I think offensively we're going to try to just use as many playmakers as we can. We got to find out who those guys are going to be, what they can do, and really make sure we're matching what we want to do coaching-wise to put guys in the right spots. Defensively, I think being able to look out there, looking from the spring, honestly, we did not have a lot of standout guys productively, right? And I think that actually is a good sign, because we want to have an identity that plays hard, plays fast, play together, and should be able to look out there and see that every guy is able to accomplish those things to show who the identity of the defense is. And I think we had a lot of that in the springtime. And so looking forward to just those guys gelling together and working together. And we're going to try to stay simple and be able to play as fast and as confident as we can. And, we want to take on an identity as a team too, to just, we want to be gritty, we want to be tough, we want to be enthusiastic, we want to be competitive. And, if we can bring those things to the table every single time, we give ourselves a chance to compete.
For both guys, you're learning under Coach Richardson for the first time. Tell me a little bit about what it's been like in just a small stint as you get ready for the opportunity to compete for him here in 2023. And we'll switch it up this time. Jason, you start.
I've just learned a lot about how to handle business in the proper way, instead of because there's no playing games with Coach Rich. You can't communicate poorly, you can't do anything wrong. like, so just like going about business in general.
There's a little smile on his face. It looks like you gave the right answer.
Yeah, I'd say probably the two biggest things for me is discipline. You know, we have lacked that in the last years. You know, coaches have really been honing in on that, trying to get that fixed, and guys are getting held accountable. And I think that's really going to help us out through the season. And I say, bringing back the Northern Michigan culture. You know, like just a tough, hard-nosed football team that's going to go out there and just play hard and do what it takes.
All right, there's the first test. Coach, how'd they do?
Not bad, you know. I'm glad Jason is on his toes there. It's not necessarily the perception that I want to give, but we'll keep it at that and make sure he keeps operating that way.
All right, guys, let's go back to you. Tell me about something that you worked on in the off season to get ready for this football season coming up. And Kyle, we'll start with you.
Yeah, just a lot of footwork. You know, just trying to get slow feet, don't eat. You know, so a lot of footwork, running routes, a lot of hand drills, and obviously working out. You know, I love the weight room. I love getting in there and putting some work in.
Jason?
A lot of working out, running, making sure we got that motor all season. 100 plus plays a game, that's all you got to be ready for.
Is there anything that you guys utilize to take your mind off football once the season starts, to relax, some downtime, or is it just football on the mind 24/7? Kyle, go ahead.
I do a lot of hunting and fishing, so that, especially up in the UP, they don't get better than that. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
A lot of just beach volleyball.
Beach volleyball.
Post workout, beach volleyball.
Are you a blocker, or where are you at?
I'll be on the front row.
Okay. All right. Dominating on the football field, and look out for him for beach volleyball as well. All right. Before we wrap things up, Coach, let's come back to you. Just again, this first season, your expectations heading into fall camp, and then once you guys get kicked off.
Yeah, I expect a team to come in that's hungry for success, and I think that's part of the expectation level that has to be set. We need a team that is able to, expect more out of themselves as we come in, and there's a lot of work to be done in terms of adding new players and making sure that the mentality is right and the culture is right, and so they just need to be ready to work, be ready to take on anything that we throw at them, and ultimately during the season expect a competitive excellence, and that's really where I see our team needing to get to, and we want to bring that game in and game out. And I think sometimes when you get focused too much on results and outcomes and numbers and records and things like that, you lose focus of what's really right at hand and what's in front of you. And so we want a team that just comes and competes one play at a time and is able to flush that and move on to the next play and play their best every single time.
All right, guys, and last question for both of you. Kyle, we'll start with you. Same type of thing. Your expectation personally for the team, or just what you're most looking forward to coming up this fall?
Yeah, I'll hit on the offense. We got a new quarterback. I'm really liking what he's been doing this summer. He's a real good leader. Works really hard. He pushes the rest of the guys, and I'm really excited to see him compete. And then we got all kinds of talent. All kinds of guys that want to go out there and work. And I think that's the biggest part.
And defensively, I would say we got a lot of young guys who are stepping up, and as soon as we can all be cohesive and work as one, there's nothing that can stop us.
All right, well, looking forward to it, guys. Thanks so much for coming up here. Good luck this year. First-year head coach Shane Richardson, Kyle Starr, pick a position, he's playing it. And then Jason Coulter. Coming up next, we're going to bring up Davenport in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
All right, as mentioned, we've got the Davenport Panthers up here now with head coach Sparky McEwen, quarterback Jason Whitaker, and linebacker Julius Wilkerson. Coach, let's start with last year before we get to this year. You guys had a program great season across the board. You are the reigning GLIAC Coach of the Year. You guys won 8 games. You made it to the playoffs for the first time. Tell me about how this program was able to get to where it was last year and how you build on that this season.
You know, I think it started the year before, coming off the COVID year. We returned some veteran players, and we lost some pretty tough games. To the point where, you know, we said we've returned a lot of good football players, but we got to continue to work on our culture. You know, what does it look like to play like a champion? What does it look like to compete against champions? And then all of a sudden, there's a couple of transfers, you know, through the portal that came in and they bought into what we're doing there. And man, I tell you what, those first 4 weeks, I think the turning point probably was the Michigan Tech game. We knew that we were going to be in for a dogfight in that game there. The guys got down 17-0, fought back hard, no one blinked. At that time, I said, we might have something here. So took off from there, they played well. Health was pretty good for us throughout the year as well, and that plays a major part, you know, in this thing. I know that the young man from Tech, they lost a pretty tough defensive lineman early, and that's tough on the football team, especially when you're that good.
You mentioned culture being so important and maybe that COVID year helping you guys start to build that. What in your mind is makes a good culture?
Well, for us, and these guys, they'll attest to this, coming in, it's got to be genuine, okay? Any transfer, any youngster that comes into our program, you as a coach got to win over that. The parent, the player, they got to trust you as a coach, they got to trust you as student athletes, they got to trust you as assistant coaches, and we sell that the entire year, okay? For us, when we go to camp here in about 3 weeks. We leave the footballs behind, and we get to know each other. We go to Canonsburg to ski. I got a lot of Floridians on the team. They've never seen snow. So we go to Canonsburg, and they'll say, what is that? I say, that's a hill, okay, with snow and ice. You know, so we do things like that. We go to the beaches. So these are all real life things. So now when we play games, it just works in this favor because you know you're playing with someone that you love.
Are there any returning great skiers on the team that are going to stand out?
Well, number one, no linemen because we have a lineman get injured. But we have a couple kids from Rockford that actually does a pretty good job and shows the guys. But we stick to the inner tubes.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, that's nice and easy. Tell me about these 2 gentlemen that you brought with you today.
Well, I got J-Dub and J-Dub, okay, Wilkerson and Whitaker. First of all, class. One's playing quarterback on offense, the other one's playing quarterback on defense. And when you have those kind of young people in your program, they're a little older. They understand what the needs are. They understand what the assistant coaches are. They know what your university is all about. Both of them, they're the same guy. Julius, he transferred to us in the 2nd semester. Outstanding young man, up for major awards across the country. And we lost a pretty, solid linebacker in last year, and we were able to replace him with Julius. And already, he's 100% in anything that he does, okay? And that sends a message to all the youngsters, that are part of our program. And then Jason, obviously playing quarterback. It was a nice transition for him because he played quarterback. I watched him play in high school, right at Rockford. Knew we didn't have a chance at him. There was other kids we were recruiting, but I said, wow, that would be nice to, have him, someday. And obviously he became available, and he made a position change from tight end back to quarterback. Well, he passed with flying colors. We led the league in passing. We throw it a lot, so led the league in passing, and he fell in love with the game again. Didn't want to put high expectations on him. I just told him to go have fun. He did a good job of it.
Jason, let's start with you. When I was talking to Coach McEwen this week, he said, in basketball, there's a gym rat. He said, Jason is a field rat. When did you turn into that person that just kind of soaks everything up and wants to learn as much as he can about the game?
Man, well, I think over my playing career, I think all my coaches have really kind of enveloped that into me. It started with Coach Munger, legendary Rockford coach. He was all about, being in the weight room, living in the film room, and things like that. And I think it really just kind of carried over into college, going to Northwestern. That's the same type of culture there. Just just anytime you can get extra work in, just do it. And so, that's kind of been me for a while now. So, it's not really something I think about. And just coming into Davenport, you know, I'm happy to bring that to the team.
You mentioned, or Coach mentioned, transferring, starting in Rockford, going to Northwestern, and now coming back home. I mean, first, let's start with that. What is it like to be back and kind of play in the community that you grew up in?
Yeah, it definitely feels full circle in the best way, and I'm really grateful, and I honestly think it was God that brought me back here, and yeah, I'm excited. I was excited last year to play, and I'm excited to finish, you know, this season strong, and yeah, it just you know, it's something that you can't really, you know, when I went to transfer portal 2 years ago, I didn't really know where I was going to go. I was playing tight end my last 2 years there at Northwestern, and so. And I believed in myself at quarterback, and you know, I'm just thankful that Coach Sparky took a chance on me, and yeah, it really feels full circle.
From the offensive quarterback to the defensive quarterback, Julius Wilkerson, coming in and playing for Davenport for your first year here. Tell us why this was the right fit for you.
It was the right fit just because of the culture there at Davenport and the coaches and the players. Like, they all showed me love all throughout the process of being in the transfer portal. I knew what kind of player I was, and they made me feel like that as well. Since I've been there, greeting me with open arms, just like Coach said, we're the same person. We've talked a lot, even though he's on the offensive side. And I came with a little bit of familiarity because we got Myron Harris with us too, so I kind of knew. He came a little bit before me, so he told me like kind of how it was beforehand, but great decision.
I imagine it's not easy to go from one spot and then try and be a leader in a brand new spot, but here you are, and Coach has mentioned how much of a leader you are on the defensive side. So how did you make that transition, I guess, so naturally?
It's just about like finding the players. The players had a lot to do with it. My fellow peers, they kind of, like I said, just let me in and just allowed me to lead how I do. And you know, you sit back for a little bit, kind of see how everybody is, what the vibe is about the team, and it was a perfect match for the type of person I am and the type of team that they are.
Let's go back to you, Coach McEwen. I mean, last year you started the season so well, and then you play tough teams at the end, and it finishes, but you do get to the playoffs. You do so much that this program has not done before, and we talked about it earlier this week. I mean, you guys made the transition to D2. It was just, 2017, 2018, and here you are already excelling and kind of taking that next step. What do you think it is that can get you to take even that next bigger step in this conference?
Consistency. You know, you gotta, no matter what you do, week in and week out. We were picked last, last year. It goes to show you, number one, us coaches don't know what we're talking about. Okay, so that meant nothing to us. Just like we're picked third this year, it means nothing to us. Okay, these guys know we have a hashtag stop the ball. We don't care what the media thinks. We don't care what the student body thinks. We don't care what anyone thinks. Okay, we want to stop the ball. We want to play football. Social media, we don't care about it. They lock in to who they are. Okay, and so for us, we feel like if you get caught up into what happened last year, you will not be able to make that next step. Okay, we talk about growth as a person. How much can you grow within this team? This team right here, he comes on board in January. Already he's made a super impact. And I told him, I said, just be yourself. Be yourself, and already they're following. Okay, so if we keep that philosophy, if we keep in mind, doing things the right way every single day, we'll be fine. You get into those meaningful games. We talked about meaningful games. Who would have thought you're gonna play Saginaw Valley with a chance to go to the tournament? Who would have thought you're going to play GV in a championship game? Meaningful football games is what we're talking about.
Jason, speaking on those meaningful games and all the accomplishments last year, first of all, how much fun did you have last year being a part of a historic great season at Davenport, and then how much does that drive you to try and take that next level this season?
Man, it was so much fun. I think from the outside, everyone sees just the Saturdays, but from Sunday to Friday, the practices, the meetings, like we had such a good time, just being ourselves and being with the guys. And yeah, it was awesome. And I think that's what makes Davenport so special, I feel like, is that, like Julius was talking about, our culture is just like different. And everyone, from the inside out, like the heart of our culture, like the heart of our team, like is special. So I think, and it shows out and just like having fun in practice and having fun in games. So I'm really excited to carry that forward to this year. And just excited.
Julius, you're coming in kind of getting your first opportunity to compete with this squad this year, but you've been here for a little bit, you go through spring ball. Do you feel like this team has what it takes to try and take that next step forward this season?
Most definitely. The only thing that's stopping us is us. Like Coach and Jason were talking about, we have a really great culture there, and we have people who are hungry to win, hungry to take that next step. It wasn't good enough just to get there. We want to get all the way.
Coach, wanted to get a quick snippet from you on, I know we're talking to two guys that represent the offense and the defense, but just what you're expecting on both sides of the ball from offense and defense this year.
We want to keep it simple. We want the kids to play hard. Go out, compete, leave it on the line. Spot the ball, that's what it's all about. If you start looking further down the schedule, further down the quarter, you're going to find yourself there, okay? We want these guys to, fight where they're at right now. Be the best version of you. Sitting back, watching this group, how they operate, how they work. Sometimes as a coach, you can mess it up, okay? This group here, you can step back. Coach Anise talked a lot about best coach team is a player-led team. That's what these guys are about, okay? Player-led team, guys that you put out front as a coach and trust that they get it, that they understand it. Culture is a catchphrase, man. It's said a lot, but we're serious about it. If you don't fit the culture, you won't be with us. If you're part of what we do and how we operate, do it the right way, you can be successful in that.
Jason, you've seen how this culture works, having a breakout season last year and now trying to do it again this year. What's it like playing for this man?
It's the best. It's the best. It's a lot of fun. I had a little profile thing that they did on Instagram, and I described Coach as lively, and that's an understatement. He's always making us laugh, always making us smile, and he's about it. So.
Does he have the jokes?
Oh, he's got the jokes.
What do you think, lively? Is that a good term to describe you?
Depends on the day.
Depends on how you guys work out there, right? Put you in a good mood or not. Well, hey, we're looking forward to seeing how you guys follow up that historic season last year. The Davenport Panthers, Sparky McEwen, Jason Whitaker, and the new linebacker, Julius Wilkerson. I apologize. Best of luck this year.
Thank you.
Coming up here next. All right, Ferris State, and we've got head coach Tony Anise, Ian Hall and Xavier Wade joining us. You guys have had a couple of good seasons, huh? Defending national champs back-to-back years. How the heck are you doing?
Well, we're 0-0 right now, so we're nervous about everything we hear. Proud of Sparky and Ryan Brady, 2 former assistants, and proud of what this league has done. A lot of great teams, a lot of great players in here today. So we're just trying to get ready for it all because we know there's going to be a lot of challenges in front of us.
How do you stay motivated when you've accomplished the top of the top the last 2 years? And like you said, you're 0-0 coming into this year. How do you stay motivated for that next season?
I don't have to be motivated because I don't play. And so for me, I sit back and watch how determined our guys are and just do it with pride. When we came back to school in January, our guys were just, you could tell from the beginning, they're just driven for more. And 2 things obviously can happen. 1, you continue to grow, or 2, you get complacent and die. And so, we're a team that really focuses on growth, proud of the guys. So regardless of what happens this year, people always say, three-peat, I want to punch them in the mouth when they say that. So don't say that, please. I want to just focus on the process and just continue to grow. Winning 1 national championship is obviously a dream. Winning the 2nd is, an extraordinary accomplishment. But it's all in the past. There's other teams in here who have been, capable of doing the same thing we did, and we just have had good fortune to have it happen. And we're just going to be locked in on the process to be the best version of ourselves, and we're about the dogs. We focus on the dogs and what we can do to be our best.
I want to ask you about that process of the program. When you took it over and to where it is now, how have you seen this program build to where it is?
Well, it's obviously you don't envision it to happen that way. Our 4 core values are faith, order, love, and discipline. Our kids have internalized those core values. Their level of belief in the program is extraordinary. The love is the catalyst of our greatness, and we truly feel that about each other. And so you're just proud, but you don't coach the game, and you play the game obviously with hopes of winning a national championship, but at the end of it, it's not the end all. I was at a wedding 2 weeks ago where the end all is seeing one of my former players get married, and there's 20 of my former players there, and just the pride you have and the men that they become. That's obviously the end all.
It's more than football, right? I mean, developing them as individuals as well.
Absolutely. Ian was at that wedding reception, so I left early because I was nervous it's going to get a little out of control. And so, but it was it's just a bunch of great men that just love one another. And so whether it's Ferris State or whatever program that we're talking about, there's just that level of connection, and that's why it's the greatest game ever played. It's just, it's multiple positions, like Coach Wooster, he was, I knew him, I coached against him when he was in high school, and so the game's just never ending. The stories are never ending, and just the connections are extraordinary.
Fun to watch the game of football, and 2 guys that played really well for you sitting right next to you. Tell us about these 2.
Well, this one graduated in spring of 2020, so I don't know how he's still around. I don't know how Cade and Abe are still around. I mean, somebody should be passing on to real life, but these guys stay in college forever. But Ian is in his 7th year. He graduated a few years ago and just has a year eligibility left and still playing. And he's from Grandville, Michigan, and he's the guy that doesn't fit the profile. a lot of us D2 coaches, we don't talk about the profile like D1s talk about it. And, people say, oh, this linebacker is too short, or this DN is too short. So I tower over them, and I'm 5'9". And Zay is from West Ottawa High School. He's been as good a receiver as I've ever seen. And last year in week 2, covering a punt, he tore his labrum in his shoulder, and so he got a medical. And so we're happy to have him. And they both had great off seasons. They're great young men. West Michigan guys, which we love West Michigan. Davenport's done a great job in West Michigan. Obviously, Grand Valley has, and we have a lot of pride in Grand Valley won the GLIAC championship. We were, basically with Davenport. So all 3 of the teams that were from the GLIAC were right in this media market, which is cool to see.
Some good football over here on the west side of the state. Ian, let's go to you. You clearly like the west side of the state. 7 years. How much you enjoyed Ferris State, and how in the heck did you milk 7 years out of them?
Yeah, good question. I'm here for a long time and a good time. So, I redshirted my first year, and then medical redshirted, and then COVID came around, so that's why I'm still here, obviously. Yeah.
How has your experience been? I mean, to go through, obviously, dealing with what you've dealt with, but to still be able to be here and get ready for this 2023 season, that's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed to be here still and be able to be coached by Coach Anise and his staff. Yeah.
All right, and then Xavier Wade, tell us about, Coach mentioned it, you had a freak kind of accident covering a punt, missed most of the year last year. How excited are you to be back out there and trying to help this team win?
I'm really excited. I might start crying when I run out there after that, before the game or whatever. But I'm just excited to be back with the team and the guys. And I just thank Coach for just keeping me around. Even when I was hurt, trying to make me keep me involved and never let me get too far away. So yeah.
For both you guys, what do you love about the game of football?
Don't think I'm weird for this or anything, but I like those pads cracking. That's what I like the most. So being able to hit someone physically and not go to jail for it.
Yeah, I say the same. Where I like just being with the guys and just hanging out with those people who I hang out with most when I'm not on the field or doing anything.
Tell us a little bit about, Ian, we'll start with you, about the locker room this year and the guys on this team, the makeup, and what it's like being around all of them.
Yeah, I mean, we've been up there all summer. We've had record numbers, so I've been around them kind of. A lot of guys out of state haven't been up there yet, but I'm excited to get back around those guys that are out of state again and, bond with them and continue to build that culture with them.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I'm excited to just go back and just be out there with the guys and, create a new memory with them to talk about and, just experience Ferris State, one last time, soak it all in and just take it with me,
Coach, I know you want to talk about the present, but I'm going to take you back to the past one more time. You guys got to go to the White House recently. How was that?
I know I'm exactly in the White House, nor did I meet anybody really important. And we did leave at 4 a.m. and got back at 4 a.m. So it was a 24-hour whirlwind. What'd you think of it?
It was a great experience, long day for sure, a lot of walking.
I was a little disappointed when we got to O'Hare and our flight was 3 hours delayed, yeah. So,
took some naps in the airport.
Yeah. If I got to meet the president or walk around the White House or make an important decision, I would have felt better about it.
Well, very cool. Still a cool opportunity for you guys to go out there. Unfortunately, sorry that the plane trips took a little bit longer than expected, but Hey guys, as coach, and he said, I'm not playing, so I don't need the motivation to get up. But for you guys, you are going to take the field. Tell us where that motivation lies. When you've reached the top, you've won back-to-back national championships. Where is the drive to try and have a great season again this year? Ian, we'll start with you.
I got a couple answers for this. My why, I want to make my mom, my family, sister, girlfriend, her family all proud of me. You know what I mean? No, not fiance quite yet, but girlfriend. And then just want to leave it all on the field, have no regrets.
Xavier, go ahead.
Can I hear the question one more time?
Yeah, just where does that drive come from? As Coach mentioned, to stay motivated when you've reached the top and you're trying to have another great season this year. What's pushing you to be great again this season?
Just looking at myself in the mirror and just, being my own biggest critic, and, as well as pushing my teammates and even the coaching staff, just to, if that's what I have to do. I don't necessarily need to do that. I just want to show up and just be the best, I can be personally, and hopefully that energy feeds off to the next man. And so, it's just a domino effect. Just hopefully we can all figure it out and just find our identity and just go out with a bang,
There's a lot of good football in the Midwest, and specifically in Michigan, and there's a lot of great rivalries across the leagues, Big Ten, MAC, GLIAC. Tell us what it's like to be a part of coaching in the Anchor Bone Classic.
Well, it's like any other game, truthfully. I think both institutions know that they got to beat everybody else, right? And so, we try to focus on ourselves. We spend a lot of time thinking about Ferris State. When that game comes, which I don't know the date of it, nor do I want to know. I know it's at Grand Valley this year. But other than that, we want to, we want to play our best every week. So we try not to overplay the rivalry. It's hard, it's hard to play a team like 4 times in 2 years, right? Abe's sitting there calling our plays before we call them and stuff. And so it's hard, but I think, and there's a lot of, obviously we're in West Michigan, but so it's hyped up. But I think there's a lot of respect from both programs. I think the players, they work really hard. We respect them, and truthfully, I said this in our press conference before the game, but you go back and you go back in history, in 15 we split, in 16 we split, in 17 we narrowly won, in 18 we narrowly won, in 19 we narrowly won, in 20 in the regular season we narrowly won. I had a snowstorm in the playoff game, that's 21, 20 was COVID. And then this year, we won by 1, and they won by 1 and we won by 3. And the game we won, they probably should have won. And the game they won, we probably should have won. It's it's pretty wild. But also, you can sit and talk about Saginaw Valley. We've had 2 really tough games against them. I mean, Michigan Tech this year just, they were just so good against us. So we played Davenport twice. I don't ever want to play Davenport twice again, And so it's hard. It's really hard. And unfortunately, the process has been where we have, in the playoffs, separated the GLIAC schools in somehow, some way. We're hoping that'll be fixed over time. But it's hard on all of us. It really is. Because the more you get to know an opponent, the more the game's kind of stagnated, And it's been a grind. And obviously, there's just great coaches along with great players. So it's tough. It really is.
Last question for both you guys. Just what you're looking forward to, or an expectation, perhaps, whichever way you'd like to go with it, of this year. And let's start with you, Ian.
I'm looking to, same as since I got here, just win every day. I said this earlier, win every day, win every quarter, win every week, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. So take it, not too quick, and just let it ride out. And yeah.
You sound like a coach. Sound like you've been there 7 years.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, Xavier, same question to you. Expectations this year, or what you're looking forward to most as we get the season kicked off?
I'm just looking forward to being back with the team and staying healthy.
All right, cheers to that. Ferris State, the two-time defending champs. We'll see what they do this year. Head coach Tony Anise, defensive end Ian Hall, and wide receiver Xavier Wade. Thanks so much for your time, guys. Thank you. Grand Valley State's coming up next. All right, now to the defending GLIAC champions, the Grand Valley State Lakers, led by first-year head coach Scott Wooster as he takes over the program, along with linebacker Abe Swanson and the quarterback Cade Peterson. Coach, let's start with you. You have been on this staff, and now you are the man in charge. How's it feel?
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you talk about the pride and tradition of Grand Valley State football. You look back and doing some recruiting, talking with some 24s now, and you just look back at the tradition of Grand Valley State football. 38 years since Coach Beck to Coach Kelly to Coach Martin to Coach Mitchell, now to me. So it's awesome. Just walking those hallways, on the backs of the Laker legends and the teams and the players and the coaches that have came before.
Yeah, it's something to what you mentioned. I mean, the last few coaches have all come internally.
38 years.
Yeah.
38 years. That's not one outside the building.
That's pretty special, right? What's it say?
Very unique in terms of college football, right?
Yeah. So. Why is that? What is the reason that it stayed so consistent over the years in your mind?
Well, I think, studying the history of Grand Valley State football now, I think it's just that. It's the pride and tradition. Like, we've got this thing going, let's keep it going. And obviously, our task is to find those edges to take it back to the top. But there's been such a history of winning, a history of graduating. The 20 student athletes representing the community that just continuing that pride, that tradition of Grand Valley State football, Laker football.
Tell me about a couple of mentors that you've learned from to help you get ready for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Mitchell. Didn't know him. I said at my press conference, hated him for quite a few years, and became really tight with him. And became a mentor and, passing this thing on to me, and Paul Winters when I was at Wayne State, and the list goes on. I mean, Bud Doba, Tom Milano, so many people had such an impact. And the two most important men in my life, my gramps and my dad, like obviously different worlds, not football coaching, but leading men, and that's what we're doing. Got two leaders and men right here.
I was about to say, tell me about these two leaders you got up here on stage with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Abe Swanson, Kate Peterson, it's been, 3.5 years now? Something like that. Got here in June of 2020, right in the heart of COVID. This group right here, and their group, and these guys are the face of it today, but went through some tough times at Grand Valley State football. Through 2019, there were some downs, when I was on the outside looking into that, and then here comes COVID. But what these guys have put into Grand Valley State football, and then our relationship and what we've been through together, and like I said, Garrett Carroll, Jordan Davis, Tariq Reed, Seth Hoonhorst, Colton Heibel, Chris McCarroll, Stevie Roncelli, Cole Petrillo, Josh Gorball, like this group means a tremendous amount to me personally, to our staff. And when you love somebody so deeply and you go through the things that we went through, and I know they've been through even before I got there, it's awesome, man. It's a terrific, it's a feeling, I don't know if I can really describe in words, to lead guys you have so much respect for, you have so much love for. And that's Abe and Kate. And it's the middle linebacker and quarterback, right? And that's an awesome to have, 2 6-year guys coming in as the head coach. So, yeah, Abe and Kate and this group is, I don't have the words for it, man.
You got to be good up the middle, right, on both ends?
Absolutely.
Good guys to have up here. All right, Abe, let's start with you and just the success that you've had. What has kept that consistency over the years as you get ready for another season here?
For myself, the success that I've had, I'm not really worried about personal accolades as much as team accolades. I love all my brothers. Like Coach Rooster said, that bond is kind of something undescribable. Just keeping it rolling. Obviously, staying healthy is a big part of it. Staying on top of it. Film study. You can't ever get enough of football. When you love this game so much, you want to be around it 24/7. When you're around it with a group of guys like this, it makes it easier. You love that locker room. You love every part of it. You love the 6 a.m. lifts. You love the 9 o'clock meetings at night. You love the snack at 10:30 before camp. It's just can never get enough of football, and that's just something that's made me so successful. Just taking it day by day as well. Don't look too far ahead. Once you do that, you lose sight of what's important and what's right for every fit.
Most important question, you mentioned snacks. What is the go-to Abe Swanson snack of choice?
Man.
Don't lie, bro.
I got a few, but lately I've just been rocking like a Rice Krispie treat. Can't go wrong with it. High sugar, there's got to be at least a little bit of protein in there.
Don't let him lie. He's got a box from sitting in our living room. So.
But there's another good, a Reese's Take 5 bar. Can't really go wrong with that. Large Coke from McDonald's. Not very good for you, but mixing a water here and there, and you're all right.
Healthy snacks. I love to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
One more question for you before we get to your teammate there. You said the word love, and you could hear the love that Coach Booster has for Grand Valley State. Tell us about the love that has ignited you to continue playing for the Lakers and what this school means to you.
Yeah, obviously when you get to this, like Ian said, 7 years, but me and Kate are only at 6, but once you get that far, you get a little older, you start realizing what your why is, you realize why you do it. So something for me is like my family. I do it for my family. And then again, I do it for those 10 guys that Coach Booster mentioned. They stuck by my side, so I'm sticking by their side till the end.
Kate, this team had a tremendous offensive year last year, and obviously you were at the thresh of it. Tell us about the growth you've made as a quarterback and where this offense is heading into 2023.
Yeah, I would say that the growth that I've been able to achieve has just come from the guys around me and the coaching staff. Like, I can't do anything that I'm able to do without them. And so, realizing that and just how everyone supplements one another on the football field, in the locker room, in the weight room, like that's what truly makes, a successful football player. And so all the credit's just got to go to them. And the key is to just, having that perspective and going forward with it. That's why you play the game. That's why you play the game with the people you love. So.
You guys win the GLIAC last year, and then you get into the playoffs, and I'm assuming that the next step you want to try and bring a national championship back to Grand Valley for the first time since those 2000s. In both of your minds, what's it going to take this year to have a successful season to try and put you back in that spot and have that opportunity?
Yeah, I think that it's going to have to take a healthy balance of, taking lessons learned from the past, realizing what made us successful, what we need to work on, as well as, transitioning that motivation going forward. We got to replace some guys, and some young guys got to step up, and just like every other year. And, it's our job, coach's job, to, take the lessons that we've learned and, pass that light on to them, show them what it takes to, win in hard-fought football games, four-quarter football games. And because, at the end of the day, you got to beat quality teams and quality programs to achieve that goal. And, it's our job to lead that team to get to that position. So,
Abe, same question for you.
Yeah, I think if you look at 21 and 22, you go from good to great. But if you want to go from great to elite, I think mindset's a big factor. Obviously, you got to go out there every week that, this is something this team can do. Going 1-0 each week, very difficult task. It's been mentioned throughout the previous press conferences, but GLIAC, obviously a very strong conference, great teams, great programs, great players, great leaders of men, like Coach Wooster mentioned. But, you got to set yourself apart. So a big part of it is just changing your mindset. This is achievable. This is something we want to do. Obviously, at the end of this 2023 season, we want to get fitted for 2 rings instead of 1. But, it just starts a day-by-day process, like I mentioned earlier.
Coach Wooster, you talked a little bit about the consistency within this program, and you're taking over a well-oiled machine that you've been a part of, but now in a new role. What are your thoughts on just trying to keep that going along, and how do you approach that with a team that has already had so much success and a program and a tradition that is so high?
Yeah, and steal a word here from Cade, balance. There's a tremendous balance of, and Abe said it too, of continuing on the course that Coach Mitch set and the course that we're on, and then finding those edges to get us to elite, to get us over the top. So there's a tremendous balancing act, and you probably heard me say the fine line thing, right? There's these fine lines in life, in the game of football, that you got to balance. So staying on the course that we're on, because obviously there's been tremendous success, and then just finding those edges, those inches, to get us to that next step.
There's not really an easy process into the season, right? I mean, this is already a difficult conference, and you guys are going to the Colorado School of Mines, the national runners-up from last year, and you guys had a great battle and won that game close last year. So how do you get ready to try and start your first game and the season off with that good of an opponent?
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously, everyone said the process orientation of this thing, the summer workouts leading to prepare you for camp prepare you for that opener. So really just trying to stay focused on our freshmen will report on Saturday, and veterans will report on Sunday, and go to practice on Monday. But it's out there, right? Like, you're getting on a charter flight and headed out to the Rocky Mountains, play number 3 in the country. And let's get it. Let's light the fire, man. Kick the tires and light the fires. Let's get it going. It's only one way to do it, and jump right in.
I love it. Cade, I watched a recent interview you did, and you had a little competitive nature that said you and Abe are battling to be the best golfer. So I just got to ask, here as we enter into fall camp, who is the best golfer amongst you two?
You want to answer that?
I easily have the best driver in the bag. It's pretty much 300 dead center most of the time. I'd say that Cade edges me out in most matches, but I've got his number a few times.
But we're talking about the synergy, right? Off the tee, closer to the pin, right? Play that complementary football, offense, defense.
I mean, it's good stuff. Like, it's a way that, these guys are my boys for life. And the fact that, during the summer, I can balance work, football, and spend some time to create those memories with the core group of guys that we're around is really what helps us transition that to the fall. Because, there's, whether it's, talking on the golf course or talking during practice, you just know it's all out of love, and that's the way that we operate, and we love it. So
Very cool. Well, best of luck to you guys on the golf course, but more importantly, best of luck on the gridiron this fall. Scott Wooster in his first year for Grand Valley, Abe Swanson, Kate Peterson. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Coming up next, we'll have Saginaw Valley State. All right, next up, second to last year, we've got Saginaw Valley State head coach Ryan Brady, Jars Grissom, and defensive back Michael Woolridge. And Coach, let's go back again. I know we're looking forward to this season, but start with last season. You guys pick up 8 wins. You go 500 into GLIAC. Tell us about last year and how you feel coming into 2023.
Yeah, it was a solid year. Obviously, we didn't reach our goal. We had extremely high expectations. I was very proud of the guys. We had a tough schedule, and we got a tougher schedule this year, which we're excited about. And so, I just believe to be the best, you got to beat the best. And so, we're looking for every opportunity we can to compete against the best that not only the GLIAC has to offer, but nationally as well. So, proud of what my guys have done, but we got bigger goals ahead.
How do you achieve those bigger goals and take that next step you're talking about?
Yeah, I believe it starts with leadership. You got to have great leaders. That's why these two awesome young men are here today. Both of them are great leaders. They're great men. They're some of the hardest working young men and football players that I've ever been around. And so, that was kind of the credentials to join me here today. And so, these two lead the charge in every way. And so, you got to have great leadership, and then you just got to have an unbelievable amount of discipline. And so, those two things I think really drive great programs, and those are areas we're going to grow on this fall.
You and I were talking earlier in the week, and you take a lot of pride in playing in the GLIAC and all the history. You said some great coaches, great players, and it's continuing now with there not being a bye week. Once you get into conference, it's a difficult game every single week. What is it like coaching against, I know you'll face new coaches this year, but what's it like being a part of this conference and trying to coach against the opponents?
I mean, it's a lot of fun, obviously. Got a lot of great memories. I've been around a lot of great coaches. But kind of to piggyback off what Coach Denise said, we're just really focused on us. So we can't really get caught up in all the other teams because there's just so many great teams. And really, it's we just need to focus on what we need to do to be at our best and be the very best version of ourselves. And so that's really what we've been focused on. And I think our process, our development's been very good and looking very forward. I'm very excited to get rolling in 2023.
All right, these two guys next to you. You got your quarterback, Jars Grissom, and defensive back, Michael Woolridge. Tell us about these two and what you're expecting from them this year.
Yeah, so both these guys in our program, this is probably going to be the most competitive and talented and deepest team we've had there. So these guys know they got to earn it. You know, Jarvis is going to be competing against two other quarterbacks, Michael Horrell and Willie Taylor, who are outstanding. And so he knows he's got to go win that job. The same thing with Mikey here. You know, Mikey's been a 3-year starter for us, but he knows, you know, Miles Gresham and Eli Gordon are right there. They want his job. And so I'm really excited because it's going to be just a fun camp because this is going to be so competitive at every position. And as a coach, you're excited because you got great depth and you got great kids, all right? And then we've really got some great leaders. This should be a good recipe for success.
Jarvis, let's start with you. Tell us about the quarterback room this year.
There's a lot of talent in the quarterback room. You know, Mike, Willie, they are tremendous, you know, good quarterbacks, you know, so you got to be on your P's and Q's, you know, every time we go out there and compete, you know, so I actually love competing. I've been competing my whole life, you know, college when I was at Eastern Michigan, Morgan State, you know, so, you know, competition bring out the best out of me, so you know, I love it a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that next. You've moved a couple of different spots, but it seems like you found a home with Saginaw Valley State. What has made that place a great spot to be?
Yeah, so Coach Brady, they actually, you know, took me in. You know, I can, you know, be myself. I can be myself at the other schools as well, but you know, being at Saginaw Valley State just feel like home. And I found my love with football by going to the field, you know, every single day, building that chemistry with the receivers. You know, so I love it at Saginaw Valley State.
All right, Michael, for you, tell us about the defensive unit and what you're looking forward to this year with that group.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's a unit. You know, everything we do together. And, you know, it's not one person that makes that defense special. You know, it's everybody on that field that works together. And, you know, we're all on the same page. We've got a great defensive scheme. Everybody really complements each other in the position they're at. So it's super exciting to play around and hop at different spots at different times and be all over the field. So.
Coach Brady says you're the communicator there on that unit. Tell us about when that characteristic came into your part of playing football.
Yeah, I mean, I played quarterback in high school. Not necessarily that's my position, but just kind of the spot I had to be. So I kind of had to step up in that new role and kind of, you know, build those characteristics as I played the game. But right now, like there's probably about 5 or 6 guys that could be up on the stage, you know. Talking for the rest of the team and the rest of us. So, you know, it's not really just me out there. We got a whole group echoing everything that the coaches are communicating from the sideline. So,
I want both you guys to tell us about the tough opponents you play, because I believe you've got 5 more opponents this year that made the playoffs last year. So he said it. He wants to play the best, and that helps you to be the best. So, Jarvis, let's start with you. What do you think about playing those tough teams on the schedule?
Yeah, well, you don't want to wait to the playoffs to play playoff football. We want to play playoff football, you know, when the season comes, you know. So, you know, we got to get ready. You know, we're gonna treat every game the same. You know, we're gonna come out and play tremendously hard, no matter who we play. We're gonna come out and play hard, play tough football, and you know, execute what our coaches want us to do.
Michael, same for you.
Yeah, I mean, we got a brand new strength coach, and he's really just instilled that, you know, it doesn't matter who we're going up against. It's us versus us. And every single time, we got to look ourselves in the mirror and go as hard as we can because we're not every single week we play. I mean, we're in the GLIAC, it's the best D2 conference in the nation, I believe. So, you know, every single week we're playing somebody good, so you got to beat yourself first before you can beat these teams.
Coach Brady, you talked about the depth being the best it's been since you've been here. So kind of expanding on that from when you took over year 1 to where this program is at now. Are you happy with where it's at, or what is the goal for you, or where do you want to be?
Yeah, we're going to championships here, and so we feel like we're in a good place. My staff's did an outstanding job. I feel like we've recruited very well. Our retention has been great, and our development has been very good, to be honest. And so we're seeing a lot of really good things in our program from a lot of young players, and so that's exciting. And so it's going to be a really competitive environment this fall, and so it's one that you know, we're all really excited about, and I know my guys are bought in and they want to earn it.
Jarvis, what's a fall camp like under this man?
I mean, it's a lot, you know, but we have fun, you know, doing it for sure. I mean, from the meetings to eating at, you know,
on-campus spots. It's fun. Just being around the team and being around the coaches. So I like it a lot. It's fun being with the coaches and being with everyone else.
Michael, you've done this a time or two. Is this the best part of the year for you? You like to be in season, or tell us how you're feeling heading into fall camp and getting the season kicked off?
Yeah, it's definitely the most fun part of the year. I mean, it's been such a long time since we actually got to play football and be around everybody on the team. So when fall camp rolls around and it's the same thing every single day for a month, you kind of forget what day it is, and it's just, hanging around with your boys and enjoying every single moment that we had together. So.
What kind of team bonding do we expect to get here with fall camp?
Me or him?
You.
We always like to go on a retreat, so we'll take the team and we'll head across the state, and we'll do a lot of team building and leadership training, and we'll go stay in these little cabins, and some of it'll be fun, some of it'll be really hard, and so we love to challenge the guys. Our number one goal in our program is to have fun, and so we just try to have fun with everything we do. It's such a sacrifice. There's so much hard work that goes into college football, and so I just want to make it as enjoyable as possible for these guys. And so we do have a lot of fun. And camp to me is the rules have changed so much that there's no more 2-a-days or 3-a-days, and so the rules make it such where you have to be creative to make it like a great experience for the guys. I think we've got a good model. I think our guys really enjoy themselves, and we do connect at a very high level during fall camp.
For both of you guys, Jarvis and Michael, my last question for each is just the leadership component. And I know Michael asked you a little bit about it, but going off the team bonding and getting to know the new members of your team and continuing to build that relationship with the guys on it, how much do you enjoy helping out the younger players that are coming into this program for the first time?
Man, I enjoy it a lot. I just be myself. It's good to just be there and just get to learn about the other guys and spend time with them and have a personal conversation with them. It's a good time. And it makes you want to play harder for your brother. It makes you when you actually have a personal conversation with you. So it's a great feeling for sure.
Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when the young guys come in, it's not like they're the young guys. To me, it's like that they're part of the family and that they're my friends just as much as the guys that I've been with have been my friends. So being able to pour into them and just speak life into them and just let them know that they're where they're supposed to be at, it's probably one of the greatest feelings. So, yeah.
Coach, the last question, just to finish up. Obviously, we know you want to win games this year. You guys all do. But when you look at expectations, how do you measure that, and what are you looking for specifically this season?
Yeah, our focus really is just getting better today. And so that's what we've been talking about all summer. This whole off season is we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. I mean, we have a really tough home opener against a playoff opponent. But we can't. That's so far away. Really, we just got to worry about what we need to do to win today. And that's really, I think our team has adopted that mantra. And it's just having a growth mindset. Just trying to be the best that we're capable of being, not only as individuals, but as a team. And so I've been very proud of the team. They put in an amazing amount of work this summer. We had just about every player in our program that's been there almost all summer, minus our freshmen, so almost 100 guys. And these guys have been just relentlessly chasing their dreams. So I'm just really proud of them, and they put themselves in a position now to really compete in 2023.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck the rest of the way. You got the fourth-year head coach, Ryan Brady, quarterback, Jarvis Grissom, and defensive back, Michael Woolridge. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll finish up with Wayne State coming up here in just a couple minutes. All right, last but not least, we've got the Wayne State Warriors, and as mentioned, 4 new head coaches in the league this year. Tyrone Wheatley joins the GLIAC along with Blake Bustard on the offensive line, and then Drake Reed as well. So, welcome, Mr. Wheatley, to the GLIAC. Tell us how excited you are to get going this year.
Very excited. The best is where you want to be, right? The best conference, some of the best coaches, and I'm excited, very excited.
Back home, closer to home for you.
Closer to home, yes.
That's got to be a good feeling coming back. Obviously, you've had different stints and been successful at a bunch of different spots. But why was it the right opportunity to come back to Wayne State?
Like you said, it's home. It's like Dorothy said, no place like home, right? And not only that, it's for me. I watched Wayne State from afar. My track coach, Lake Jones, went to Wayne State, played football at Wayne State, so I have family members who go to Wayne State. So there's a history, there's a tradition with me there. So at the same time, I just want to be home. I just want to be home and help my community, be a part of something. And right now, I think if this was a stock, if this was Nike back in the early 70s, you would want to buy in right now.
I like that. You've had great experience as a student athlete. You played football. You obviously ran track and field, and then you've been an assistant. You've been a head coach, and now here you are as a head coach for the Warriors. What have you learned over the years to help you get ready for this opportunity?
Be true to yourself. As you go through this game and as you grow in life, you have so many things that you go through, and so many people that come in and going out your life, and you just have to make it your own and be true to yourself. And the goals, the things you set out for, the things you want to attain. Because you can't live the life of someone else. You can't see what somebody else has and be attracted to that. Set your sights and what you want. Be true to yourself.
Tell us about these 2 young men that you brought with you today.
Well, start to my far left here, and my man Drake. Now, I would tell you this. When people speak about him, their face light up. And I was like, I want to meet this guy. I really want to meet him. And it was true. Like, my face is lighting up now. I'm just talking about it. But very consistent. I think that's the biggest word for me, just knowing him and who he is. Because off the field, great academic young man, take care of his business, and he kind of suits my core values right off the bat: accountability, credibility, and availability. Like, he fits that right off the mold, right? Just fits it right away. And when you see him play football and hear him on the field, he's the same way. And, there's nothing fake about this guy. There's nothing fake. It's genuine, organic. Guys like him. When people say love, no, they like him. They truly like him. They approach him in that manner. They have a quiet guy, but at the same time, very stern and sturdy on the offensive line. Honorable mention, All-American. He won't be honorable this year, but he will be one. But at the same time, he's a guy that is. I just watch him from afar because he's a little different. He's not a very vocal guy. But the way he moves and how people gravitate towards him is it's kind of one of those deals like if he's moving, they'll look at him and make sure he's doing it, then they'll do it, right? So you kind of watch guys from afar, just kind of take evaluation from afar. And these 2 gentlemen right here are going to be really, really key parts of the culture of the program, not only just the culture, but just in general helping me get this game, this team's ready to win.
Blake, tell us about the offensive line, because I understand you guys have good experience coming back, and obviously football is built in the trenches. So we can tell you are an offensive lineman, by the way, as well. But tell us about this group this year.
Yes, sir. We're a young group. I think we have a lot of experience from the last couple of years. A lot of guys that can be very versatile for us. We got Aiden Tweedy, who can play pretty much anywhere on the field. He played center guard for us most of the year, and then he started at left tackle and never took a tackle rep against GB. Played his tail off. Adam Sarjo, Kyler Schomper, Sam Weigel. Can't say enough about those guys.
Drake, what does it feel like to hear your coach talk about you like that and say, just light up his face, and a lot of guys that are around you? That's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, man, he's too nice, man. Ever since I got to Wayne State, I just wanted to impact the program in a positive way and set myself up for the future. And, just through hard work and, like you said, consistency and just showing up every day and giving it your all and really focusing on the bonds that you have with the people around you in the locker room, I mean, that'll set you up for life. You know, and I'm still super close with all those guys I came in with. You know, so it's an honor for him to think of me highly, you know, but it's just gotta keep working.
I want to ask you about your family and being that next generation. You've had a lot of guys, a lot of members that have played collegiately. What does it feel like to follow in their footsteps and kind of continue that trend?
Oh yeah, well, I've been around college football and college athletes in general just all my life. And so that was something, as soon as I could pick up a football, you know, it's been a goal of mine to just play at the next level. You know, my grandfather played ball, ran track at Michigan. My dad played at Central. I had cousins that wrestled at State. One of them just got inducted into the Hall of Fame up there, which was a sweet moment for my family. It's just always been a goal of mine just to kind of keep that legacy going, and that's really where I found my love of the game, was just going up on those Saturdays and seeing my older cousins play and going and visiting their games. So, you know, just keep it going.
All right, when Coach Wheatley got hired, had you guys seen any highlights, or have you since seen any of the highlights of this man playing ball?
Yeah, well, knew his name for sure. Definitely have seen a highlight or two. Probably didn't know it was him at the time. But yeah, afterwards, definitely, I feel like the guys were kind of checking him out, seeing if he was a real deal now, which, you know, I can certify. He definitely looks a real deal.
Blake, what about you?
No, honestly, I heard about him, but I didn't really know, like, you know, where he went. But then I checked out his film. I was like, this guy doesn't play around. So he's got a lot of great NFL stories too that he brings to the table. It's good to hear that experience for him. So.
How do you guys help the buy-in of this team? Because obviously you don't pick the coach. Coach Wheatley's here, and you're playing for him, and it's kind of a program reset. So how do you help the buy-in to make the program kind of takes that upward trend with him leading the squad? Drake, let's start with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just give all the credit to the guys on the team, first of all. I mean, there wasn't ever a period where I had to, or the leaders, I could say, had to go around and try to get everybody to buy in, make sure everybody was on the same page. No matter who they were going to pick, we were going to be invested. We were going to, you know, give it our all coming into this offseason, knowing how important it was. But then after meeting Coach Wheatley and seeing what he was about and hearing just from the administration, Erica Walls did a great job of just kind of keeping us in the loop and asking us, you know, what we thought our needs were as a football team. And just to end up meeting him and seeing the decision that the administrators made, you know, made the right one in my opinion. He's a great man. Great guy to be around, somebody that, you know, you could take endless points of wisdom for. So, you know, there wasn't really ever a time where I had to get the guys bought in. I feel like everybody just did it themselves when they saw the type of man, the type of coach Wheatley was. So.
Blake, same thing for you. How have you seen the buy-in build up with Coach Wheatley taking over?
Yeah, more of the same. I'd say, you know, we really didn't have to, you know, pull people out of their, you know, their rooms or whatever to, like, be bought in. Everyone was kind of stuck together, you know, through that whole transition. And then, like you said, as we transitioned to Coach Wheatley, we met him and we saw what he was about, and we all continued to buy in even more, and we were just there for each other and the coaches.
Coach Wheatley, you can't install everything in your program you want in 1 year, but you still have to set expectations. You still want to go out there, compete, and put together a great season for Wayne State. So what are those expectations for you and these guys in year one?
Well, really, it goes back to what I was saying about, you know, to be ourselves, be who we are, right? We can't worry about the rest of the conference in terms of playing football. We have to play our brand of football, our style of football, and we're going to grow into that. And so we talk about expectations. We'll grow into that. We'll grow into that. And we have to grow into the process and learning to play hard football games. You're going to be in close football games. Teams are going to practice, they work on things. They're going to score touchdowns. But how do we adjust? How do we combat, right? How do we stick together, be together as brothers, and live and fight through those hard times? Because truthfully, for me, I was always taught, you know, you find out a true meaning of a person when they hit adversity, right? So that's what I want to see these guys, is some adversity. Hopefully I can get them prepared to be able to live through that and stick together in those tough times.
And you guys fought through some adversity last year. I know the record isn't what you wanted, but you were in a lot of close games, had some leads late, weren't able to get the job done and finish. So being in that locker room, what is the difference this year that you think will take you to the top and finish those games out and try and put together some more wins? Blake, let's start with you.
I'd say first off, it starts with not wanting to repeat what happened last season and consequently the year before that. I think we know what we got to do to accomplish that. It starts, you know, from the get. You know, everyone be on the same page and like not letting up. It seemed like, you know, in the third quarter, fourth quarter, we kind of just like took a step back, you know, and that's where it's kind of like we leave the door open for people. So I think, you know, with this new coaching staff, with Coach Wheatley, I think we'll really turn the corner.
Drake, how about you?
Yeah, I really think at the end of the day, man, players are the ones that win games. Every single game, like you mentioned, I think it was 5 or 6 games we lost. It was like a possession within the last 2 minutes of the game. So it was right there. But a lot of those guys that were in that locker room last year are back now. And I feel like that's probably the most valuable thing that we have going forward is that we got those guys that have the experience that they needed last year that they might not have had. There was a handful of games I was out there with 3 true freshmen in the secondary, you know, and those type of things happen, and there's no excuses for when you're on the field, you better produce. And so just having all those guys back with another year under their belt, another hard off season, working hard through winter ball, through spring ball. We've been down there in the summer working out. So I just think with another year of everybody being around each other and kind of understanding truly the needs and what's expected of me from college football, I feel like it's going to take us a long way this year and help us close out those games that we kind of let slip through our fingers last year.
Hard playing good is looking good, and that's a new helmet this year that you guys are going to get to rep. So I got to ask both you guys, what do you think of the new Wayne State lid?
It's sweet, honestly. I'm a classmate myself. I don't miss that W, but you know, you can never complain, man. They take care of us. Neil Maskell, our equipment manager, has done a great job of just setting us up with some dope gear. So, you know, new look, man. It's gonna be fresh.
Blake, what do you think?
It's exciting, you know, a new logo, you know, kind of a new mind, I guess, as we attack the season. So, really excited.
All right, Coach Wheatley, final question for you guys, and we'll get you out of here, is just why people should be excited about Wayne State's football program.
I guess the question is, why not? It's very simple. And it's basically, like I said, I mentioned earlier, this is something you want to get in on early, right? These young men have worked, they put in great work, buying it, like they said. There was no, let's get together. It was, when I took the job, that first day of workouts, it was almost like I was taking to them, right? Like, come on, let's go. And every day they're wanting more, And so the stock is up. The stock is up. You know, it's a good group of men that are trending high, academically, off the field, in the weight room, on the field. So why should you be excited? Yeah, it's football season. It's Wayne State. That's why.
I think that's a perfect way to end this. That sounds good to me. There's your head coach, Tyrone Wheatley, his first year. Offensive tackle, Blake Mustard. And quarterback over there is Drake Reed. Best of luck to you guys this year. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.